All right, let's do it, y'all. Ty Butler in the house. You know how we do on this Wednesday morning. What up, y'all? We in New York City. Gloomy day outside. It's getting brick. I guess we're getting to that part of the season where it's like, is this going to be cold every single morning? I think we're supposed to hit a high at like 51 today, but it was brick yesterday, cold this morning, and it's just what it's going to be, man. My son yesterday said something to me that is like one of my biggest turnoffs. He's like, he loves the winter. Anytime I hear someone say that they love the winter, I get like immediately turned off by them. But anyway, we're in the house. My man Dexter Henry is about to pull up New York Post Sports for a conversation about we got to get into the Knicks, man. They can't stop winning. 7-0 at home. They're playing a back-to-back tonight against Orlando after they beat the brakes off the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies made it interesting in the fourth quarter, but the Knicks at no point in that game did I ever feel like we're in danger of losing. So we got to get into the Knicks, man. Got to get into the Knicks, who are doing what they're supposed to do, but also impressing you in the midst of doing that, which is tough. Because how often, like, are you watching a team and it's like, yeah, this is what they're supposed to do, but find yourself to be impressed by things that are happening, like Mikal Bridges, who has been incredible this year, OG Anunoby, who's been awesome, Cat finding himself in that offense when right before the season, the day before the season tipped off, he's like, yeah, I don't know what my role is, which was concerning that the second best player on the team doesn't know his role. But yeah, he's been great. Brunson doing Brunson things, and the Knicks are a high-powered, high-octane offense. And right now, you have to be encouraged by what you've seen from this group. Mitchell Robinson playing, so all good vibes coming from this Knicks team. Got to get into the Giants as well. Kevin Swagger's like, Knicks going to the finals. Mike Brown got all the motion out here. Mike Brown's doing his thing. He's doing his thing. Mike Brown told you last night he did not love that fourth quarter, didn't love that second half, and things became too easy for the Grizzlies. But Mike Brown, show him some love, man. He's doing his thing. Giants head coach search. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I've got a clip I'm going to put out later because, I'm trying to delve into the TikTok space. This clip I'm dropping later about why I don't think the story has been written, like it's finished with Joe Shane, because he's supposed to stay on board for the selection of the next Giant head coach. I don't think that story is over yet because there is a scenario that exists out there where I think that dude could lose his job. So we'll talk about the Giants. Yo, I can't believe how many Jets fans out there are just defending Aaron Glenn's behavior at the podium. And I'm sick of talking about it because I would love to focus on the games. They've won 2 straight. And however you feel about them winning and it compromising their draft positioning, the one thing that you have to say is that it's important for a head coach in his first year to show you he can win games. You don't want to be 0-17, 2-15. So I would love to just focus on football. I would love to talk about how incredible Breece Hall was. But when it's so funny to me, and we're about to hear from Dexter Henry, it's so funny to me. Aaron Glenn fires Aaron Rodgers to eliminate unnecessary distractions because he wants the team to focus solely on winning. Aaron Glenn then becomes the unnecessary distraction for the team. And with that, we say hello to my man Dexter Henry, who's in the house, repping hard Pittsburgh Steelers. I didn't think you were going to do that after what we saw on Sunday night from your boys.
You know what? I had the black and yellow T-shirt on, so I had to, I just threw that on there too. That doesn't mean I'm thrilled or happy with what is going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. But this is what happens when you get in the Aaron Rodgers business at this age.
Oh man. So how about we start there quickly? Talk to me about the Steelers. Is this a team you realistically feel like can win the Super Bowl, win the conference, or Okay, no, already. Like,
No,
nah.
no to both. Like I've been saying this for weeks. The Steelers they're not a bad team. They're just a mediocre team, right? Like they can still win the division, but the Ravens are hot on their neck now. They've won 3 in a row. The Steelers haven't looked good. I was in Pittsburgh for the game against the Packers. The defense looked trash in that game. You got excited against the Colts, the way the defense looked. And then the offense looked terrible against the Chargers. But if I'm being honest, Ty, Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback. He can't move.
Yeah, it's not
Sometimes he
good.
can make, yeah. So it's like I had no expectations for this year. And look, what I think is going to happen is you're going to hear the ridiculous people. I couldn't call it ridiculous. It's like, oh, Mike Tomlin's got to go. The man has done the Lord's work without a quarterback. Like he doesn't get enough respect for that. Like getting that. I'm not saying that, hey, 9-8 is great and doing that all over the time is great, but he's done the Lord's work without a quarterback. And you got to somewhat put respect on his name for that.
All right, so I am in 100% agreement with you,
Mm-hmm.
but I also want to play devil's advocate because I know what the response the Steelers fan would give you to that, to what you just said. First and
Yep.
foremost, Dexter Henry, New York Post Sports, he's on the show with us, does a tremendous job pumping out the content. He's a content machine. I was on his program this past Sunday. He was talking Giants at the he was talking Jets. He had the Giants conversation ringing off. He was at the Knicks game last night looking fly as hell. So make sure you check out my man D Henry TV, New York Post Sports. He does some updates for the fan and does a tremendous job. So the Steeler fan who disagrees with you is going to say, how much do we blame Tomlin for having to quote unquote do the Lord's work with that roster being what it is, deprived of good quarterback play because was in charge of picking the quarterback and he got it wrong with Kenny Pickett.
Oh yeah, and here's the thing. I'll be honest. I was wrong about Kenny Pickett. I'm a Pitt alum. I wanted to see that happen. So that did not go well. Yeah, he does deserve some of the blame for that. I will also say if you're going to do that, then you got to give him some credit and the organization from saying, hey, last year we had Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, both who were here in New York. And looks like the organization made the right decision on those moves, but they also had limited options. And I would, if I'm being honest, not saying that I wanted to see Mason Rudolph, because I absolutely do not want to see Mason Rudolph starting a quarterback for the Steelers, but the Steelers really need a reset and need to be like, hey, we got to find our quarterback. Because I think that's the thing. I would like to see Mike Tomlin cook with a quarterback that he can actually really develop and really do the things he needs to. Like, can the Steelers find their Jackson Dart? If the Steelers had somebody playing like Jackson Dart with some hope right now with the pieces they have in their team, you'd be like, okay.
This is so perfect. And it's why I love talking to you.
Yeah.
I want to pretend that the last 10 seconds of your answer does not exist because you know how we edit clips and it's like we get people to say what we want them to say.
Yeah.
I want to hold you responsible for what you just said. I would love to see Mike Tomlin with a quarterback like Jackson Dart. Jackson. So interesting you say you'd love to see Mike Tomlin.
I know this is going.
Interesting you say you'd love to see Mike Tomlin with a coach like Jackson Dart. Because what if I told you that was very possible, except not in Pittsburgh with your beloved Steelers, but here in New York, baby, with the New York Football Giants. Because all of those Mike Tomlin critics had to, take a couple weeks off when the team got out to a nice little start, but they're going to be back loud as you know what in droves if this team ends up missing the playoffs and if Mike Tomlin becomes available. I know you don't want to have this conversation. He's a Hall of Fame coach and you think that those people are nuts. But if he becomes available, man, you're the New York Giants. That's almost like the perfect marriage, bro.
I agree. Here's the thing. And what's funny, it's so funny you bring this up because we did a live show the other day and I filled in for my guy Brandon London after the news of Dave getting fired, and I had hit you up, Ty, and I had Adriana Ifola, New York Giants fan girl who's a content creator on, she came on with me, and I was tossing out these names of candidates, and I was asking her who she liked, and she was like Mike Tomlin, and I was like, man, I don't want to hear that. I was like, I don't want to hear that. But she was talking about how she thought it'd be a perfect fit. She wants somebody with experience for all the things you mentioned. To the Mike Tomlin critics, who I think they do too much and they're ridiculous. Like, I had a couple of producers, I ain't gonna put their names out there.
Call them out. Call them out.
My job the other day, Tommy, not to say last name, and Wesley, one of my editors, they were out here talking about how Mike Tomlin, I forgot how many coaches they told me, 19 coaches they'd rather have over Mike Tomlin in the league. I was like, are you out of your mind?
Insane.
If Mike Tomlin got fired tomorrow, because this is the point you're going on. Let's say he got fired by the Steelers. I don't think it's going to happen, but let's say he does. Unless the Steelers just collapse. There'll be teams will fire their coach to get him. Absolutely. And my producer was like, the game is passed him by. I do not think the game is passed Mike Tomlin by. I think what was happening is we haven't seen Mike Tomlin cook without a good quarterback. And no good coach can cook without a good quarterback. You got the quarterback and the coach. This is what's happened. We've even seen mediocre coaches cook with some great quarterbacks. It helps out, right? Or at least competent quarterbacks. So it's interesting how people forget, or people try to poo-poo and say, well, as a Steeler fan, you're lowering the standard, Dexter, because you just won 9 and 8 seasons and they haven't won a playoff game. And I'm like, do you realize, like, winning that long and having success is nothing to sneeze about? Exactly. Giants fans would take 10 of them seasons right now. Jets fans, Ty, you know this. You would take 2 of those seasons.
Listen, not to be weird, but the body parts I would cut off to get a season above 500. Now, listen, I understand because this is like Yankees and Mets, like a second cousin of those conversations where it's like, yo, Yankee fans, how dare you not appreciate the fact that you were in the World Series last year? You know, what I would do as a Met fan to get that. And the Yankee fan is just like, I understand that. We're running different races, man. You're running a 5K. I'm running a full New York City marathon. It's different. So for the Steelers fan, it's like, yo, we are supposed to do this. We are supposed to be a better franchise than going 9 years without winning a playoff game. Whereas the Giant fan is like, wait, winning a playoff game? Like, if our biggest problem is that we get to the playoffs, but we can't win, sign me up, at least for right now. So you're right. I don't think it's going to happen. Right. If it does, it would be some like mutual parting of ways. But boy.
But the Giants should be all over that if that happens. The Giants. And I think you would see immediately if Tomlin was here in New York with Jackson Dart, a young quarterback who I think has shown that he could play. I'm not saying he's a franchise quarterback. At least he's a competent starting quarterback. That's where I'm willing to go. I think Tomlin could cook. I was about to curse. I would love Jackson Dart on the Steelers right now. Like, at least with his potential and upside.
Oh, you could curse, man. This is just my platform. We don't got to abide by it.
I would love Jackson Dart on the Steelers right now, right? Like, I think Giants fans would jump all over that if he was available. I think a lot of teams would jump all over that if Tomlin was available. You made something I want to say, because I like that you made the comparison to the Mets and Yankees. And as a Mets fan, I've always been annoyed with Yankee fans who have been, I call them entitled, spoiled, think that their birthright is to go to the World Series. and this goes to some Steelers fans too, in that, because I got exactly the comp you're making. But my thing is, sometimes things change. Sometimes things are not the same era. This ain't the 70s Steelers fans. This ain't the 90s Yankees fans. Things have changed. It's a little harder. You ain't going to get there the same way you used to all the time. I understand if you have a standard. I'm not saying for you to lower your standard. I'm just saying sometimes stuff gets harder. And Yankee fans seem to not like that as much. And it's the same with the Steelers fan. They're like, well, you got to evolve with stuff too.
Yeah. So I think my pushback on that would be, and again, I mostly agree with you, but in defense of those Yankee fans and those Steelers fans, it's like, all right, cool. If expectations have to change because we've evolved, like as a society, we've evolved, like, in sports, we've evolved. If expectations have to change, I just need the people who are failing to meet the new expectations to get held accountable. And with the Yankees, We don't see that with Brian Cashman and with Aaron Boone. And
See
Steelers
that part I agree with you on. That I agree with you on.
so it's like,
I hear
give
you.
me something. I need something. Like we can't just keep running this thing back. And you know what's so funny about Mike Tomlin?
Mm-hmm.
What do people say about him as far as like his most impressive attributes? The fact that his teams never finished below 500, but in a way that hurts him in the long run because he's not able to get his quarterback. And you're picking 19th
Right.
in the draft. Like and I get you could get your quarterback anywhere. Look at Mahomes. I understand that. Lamar Jackson. I get it, but it's tougher to do that if you're consistently finishing 9-8, 10-7.
It is, but the Steelers could have took Jackson Dart, right? They could have done that last year. I could like if I'm being and so when I say I love that you bring up this point and not to but this is a point I made. And I was talking about this with somebody who was last year, and I said what I think hurts the Steelers. A little different in baseball with the Yankees. What I think hurts them is that they are very rigid. It's not the coaching; it's rigid in the way they go about certain things in terms of personnel. So the Steelers had the most expensive defense. It's more of an offensive league. Should you be spending as much money as you do on defense today in 2025? That worked in 1995. That doesn't mean you should do that today. And that's why I put some stuff on Omar Khan, sometimes on the Rooney family, where it's like, yo, you got to change a little more. The Steelers never are aggressive and move up in the draft. Never. This is not what they do. They don't ever do that. Yo, might be time to do that, right? To get that quarterback. You got it. This is where I think it's unfair that people put so much on Tomlin and ignore that part. And this is where I get some of the stuff with the Yankee fans. This is where I make the comparison. Sometimes I think the lazy thing to do is put stuff on Aaron Boone, who I do not think is a bad manager. But Brian Cashman, has he evolved as much as he needs to, right? I think it's fit. That doesn't mean I'm saying Brian Cashman is a bad GM. I'm not. I think Brian Cashman's a dope GM, Hall of Fame GM, going to Hall of Fame. But has he evolved in his thinking as much in terms of, what kind of players he's bringing in, how he needs to play in this current climate of baseball? I think it's fair to critique him on that.
So I just thought about a couple things there, and I love that we're just gonna go everywhere here because we got to get to the Knicks. We got to get to the Knicks. You were at the game last night. Yo, I cannot believe the amount of people defending Aaron Glenn in my mentions. We'll talk about that. The Giants, we're obviously talking about now. The funny, there are there are people who are like they go too far in their criticism of Brian Cashman. I'm not the biggest Brian Cashman fan, but I will acknowledge like he's not a scrub, he's not a bum, and there are some Yankee fans who are like, you know what, Brian Cashman's actually Draymond Green because Brian Cashman elsewhere, no one would have heard of him, but because he just so happened to be a part of this all-time organization, that's why we're calling him a Hall of Famer. Because people do the same thing with Draymond. It's like Draymond played in, Charlotte without Steph, Clay, and KD. No one knows who Draymond is. And a lot of people would say that about Cashman. Like if he were the general manager of the Pirates or the Rockies and he didn't have the financial resources afforded to him, how good would he actually be?
I mean, maybe. But he did have that, right? And he did come from, under the Yankee system, and he did follow Bob Watson and the guys before him. And I kind of hate what if sometimes. I hate that stuff. I understand the point people are trying to make.
Like he won with Gene Michaels players, right? Like okay, Gene Stick.
Yeah, he did. But to be fair, he also won another championship after that. So it's not like he didn't build another. Like if you want to say like the first three are not on him, then okay. Fine, right? Like, okay, but you can't say like 09 isn't on him. Now you want to say what has he done since 09? And this is a Mets fan. This annoys the hell out of me. They haven't had a losing season.
Yeah, but I mean, who cares?
They ran into some Astros teams, although with some cheating, that were better than them, right? Like.
And they also ran into some Red Sox teams that were better than them. And they also ran into a Dodgers team that was better than them. And they also ran into a Blue Jays team that was better than them. So, listen, you know what?
Ty, hold on. You see what you did there? You know what's beautiful about what you just said? You were a Yankee fan actually admitted that some teams were better than you, and sometimes
Yeah,
that's okay.
no, it's not okay for a decade and a half because sign me up for losing seasons if I'm going to be the Giants and win 3 championships, or if I'm going to be the Red Sox, who since the Yankees last won a championship have won 1, 2 more. So sign me up for that. If I need a couple of losing seasons to get to where I need to be,
it's all
a
perspective.
winner.
It's all perspective, right? Like when we talk about all this stuff, it's always all perspective. Because as a Met fan, I'm like, man, y'all a bunch of spoiled asses right there.
Which is true.
I want some sustained consistency with winning. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, the Atlanta Braves have not done a lot of winning, but they've been they've got what? Their 2 titles in
they in the last
30 years or 30 plus years, right?
Yeah, 95 and then what was it? 2021?
2021. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's
I mean,
man, I'd have signed for them years.
Exactly.
In a heartbeat.
It gets to a point where it's like, again, even if we're not, because people will say, well, Yankee fans get mad that they don't win every single year. Yankee fans are not mad that they don't win every single year. Yankee fans are just mad that upon losing and coming up short, there's just no accountability. Which, can I throw something at you real quick that I thought about yesterday?
Of course, brother. Of course.
Do we think that when Aaron Boone goes on with John Boy Media talking Yanks and he says, we actually aren't the most analytically driven team. We're last in our division when it comes to analytics. Does he actually think that helps him? Because the defense of Aaron Boone, when they make boneheaded decisions, is, well, it's not him. It's organizational. It's collaborative. So when you tell us that you're the guy making the decisions, like, I don't know, let's bring in Nestor Cortez, who we haven't seen in 3 weeks, pitch in the 10th inning of a World Series game with the bases loaded against Freddie Freeman, and that blows up in your face, that actually hurts you, my man. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good look to say that in 2025. like here's, and I'm not even like here's, I always say, I feel like I've made this comment on a couple shows, but how I feel about analytics is they're an absolute tool. I never understand the people that are like anti-analytics and the people that are like super analytics is everything. I'm right in the middle of that. I think you got to use analytics as a tool. You also got to use a little bit of eye test in baseball. Sometimes it comes down to just feel. You can't like over rely on the numbers, but you should look at the numbers because they can help you inform some decisions. To say that you're last in analytics in your division as if it's like some badge of honor, because you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we last, but you know, we still get these division titles. It's like,
yeah, man.
You maybe don't want to say that. Maybe not.
Let me ask you about the Jets, because I sent out what I thought was a pretty innocuous, innocent tweet yesterday at Ty Butler, where I say, so who's going to be coaching the Jets in 2027? And it was a response to Ari Marov, who tweeted out that, Aaron Glenn didn't want to discuss injuries because, Rich Cimini reported yesterday Garrett Wilson was going to miss at least 3 or 4 weeks with a knee injury. And Glenn went on to say, like, oh, get it from Rich. Here's what I don't get about what Aaron Glenn's doing. There's a couple things I don't get. So let's start with this. You fired Aaron Rodgers because you wanted to eliminate all of the unnecessary distractions with this team. You wanted to solely focus on winning. I disagree with it, but cool. If that's your stance, that's your stance. You, Aaron Glenn, then became the unnecessary distraction with this team, because instead of us talking about how great Breece Hall has been, instead of us bigging up how excellent that offensive line has been, instead of us talking about that defense playing very well, we're yet again spending another day focused on you and your media behavior and your antics, because you unnecessarily have this feud with the New York media that I can't quite figure out. Your thoughts?
I thought the comments to the reporting from Rich Cimini, longtime Jets beat writer, great reporter, it comes across a little thin-skinned. That's like, all right, Rich Cimini's reporting, I'm sure, is solid, confident of that. about who he talked to about that. And maybe you're mad that it leaked, and maybe you're mad that it got out. But you can't take that out in the media. You can't do that as a head coach in any market. You damn sure can't do it in New York. It's just not a good look. It looks thin-skinned. Like, I understand you want to probably keep a tight ship and you don't want things to get out. I completely get that. Now, I don't know how you can control that. Some people, because here's the thing, Rich Samini been covering the team before you got there.
Exactly.
So he got sources all in the building.
And by the way, he's gonna be here long after you gone, my G. Like, he's gonna outlast you.
Right. So fighting, I don't call it fighting a battle. It's not a battle. Even if you think it's a battle, you lose. That's what I'll say. If you think it's a battle, you're losing. And just showing that is, yeah, he's had some moments that I think he needs somebody to talk to him and be like, hey, man, that wasn't the best way to handle it. And look, Aaron Glenn is a grown-ass man. He's been around coaching. He's played in this market. So he should know a little bit better. You got to show some tougher skin than that. Like, if that's bothering you. Because if I'm a fan, I think it's fair to be concerned. If this is bothering you about Garrett Wilson's injury prognosis getting out, how you going to handle when you're on 3-game losing streak? And quarter. Oh, my bad. We've seen that already.
7 games.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. We've seen this already, right? Like, how if you're not really showing you can handle things when things get tough. And you know who's watching that? Like, I think we don't talk about this enough, Ty. You and I will talk about players. They're watching how you handle everything. You firing back, and you tell the rest of the media, ask Rich.
So it's like so lame, bro. It's so lame.
Like sometimes, and it's funny because I've been in all these press conferences and done this stuff. Sometimes I wish reporters would be like, follow up would be like, yo, why should we ask Rich?
You clap back.
Yeah, like his response is so ridiculous that somebody should be like, yo, why? Is it your job to give us the injury updates or not? However you want to handle it.
I also think that isn't he going to look even more ridiculous? Because I trust Rich's reporting.
Absolutely.
When it is announced that Garrett's out for 3 to 4 weeks with the knee injury, isn't that going to make Aaron Glenn look even more ridiculous?
Right. That's a great point. But he's had multiple of these moments, Ty. My colleague, Brian Costello, Jets beat reporter for the Post, asked him, I forgot what game this was after, when he was like, hey, will you think about making a quarterback switch? And he acted like the question was ridiculous. I'm like, we are all watching Justin Fields play out here, and he stinks right now, and you're going to act like that question's ridiculous? Come on, man.
I honestly, it might have been after the Broncos game, that awful loss in London, but there are people defending it because for some reason, and I don't want to make this into a political show, but for some reason, the public has gone like so far in the direction of anti-media. The media are the bad guys, fake news, and all of that, where you have a segment of the Jet fan population actually celebrating this. Like, yeah, he's not taking any of that from anybody. Screw these Jet beat reporters. They're always so negative. And I'm like, fam, the team has missed the playoffs for 15 straight years. They haven't finished above 500 since 2015. They've missed on quarterbacks. They've missed on head coaches. They've missed on general managers. They just were sellers at the deadline. What is there to be positive about? And it's not like they're doing them dirty. Like you mentioned, Brian Costello asked a legitimate question. Who's your quarterback? They asked yesterday, what's the status of your best player on offense, Garrett Wilson? Like, these are not unfair questions. So for him to sit there and take it with such offense, it just makes me angry. It makes me angry. And you're perfect to talk to about this because we could keep it 100. People think that I find joy in going at Aaron Glenn because I've been going at him for a couple months. I just didn't like how he handled Rodgers. I didn't like his combativeness with the media. But he's a black head coach. I'm a black dude. I know what the issues are as it pertains to that dynamic in the NFL. I want to see him succeed. I don't get joy out of this. So I think that's what makes me more frustrated. Like the fact that I'm a fan, but I'm also uncomfortable being in a position where I got to be this passionate against you and what you are so far standing for because I want to root for you. I want to see black head coaches succeed. You feel
Yeah,
me on
because
that?
no. I love that you brought that up, and I love that we can go there as two black men to talk about this because it's also kind of what annoys me in the Mike Tomlin conversation and take my Steelers fandom out of it. But I mean, he's one of the best coaches in NFL history, which annoys me when people have this stuff. He is easily the best black coach in NFL history, quite frankly, because there's been such lack of opportunities for black head coaches. And when you talk about the lack of opportunities, particularly in the NFL for black head coaches, and we've seen how the NFL has done Brian Flores dirty, who should have another opportunity. We've seen how Jim Caldwell was denied an opportunity. These are coaches who actually coach well and deserved opportunities. And here, I want to be very clear about what I'm saying here. I'm not here for we as black people need to make sure we're on our P's and Q's to make the white people comfortable in positions of power so that they will keep us. And I don't want to put this on Aaron Glenn like, hey, man, don't mess it up for all the brothers and potentially sisters that come out there. I am not that person, right? But you have to comport yourself. This is for everyone, no matter what your shade is, no matter what your race is, as a professional. And there's a couple things he's done as not professional. And I also want to cut him some slack. First-time head coach in this market. That doesn't mean he's not deserving of your criticism, because I think the criticism that you've had against him has been fair. However, people are now going to say Ty is the anti-Aaron Glenn. And the thing is, to your point, I think for both of us, we want to see black head coaches succeed because we know the lack of opportunities for them still getting opportunities. Like everybody forgets about the Flores thing. Yeah. And somebody the other day, when I was doing the Giants live show, they brought up Brian Flores as a candidate for the Giants. And I was like, yo, that'd be great. And then I completely forgot he was he named the Giants in that lawsuit, so that's not happening. Right?
Yeah. And they gave him a phony interview.
Yeah, they gave him a phony interview. And like, these are the things black coaches still have to battle against with the Rooney Rule, which clearly does not work. In this. And listen, for anybody listening wants to get into their DEI bullshit on this about how they hate DEI and whatever and all this stuff, and they act like everybody gets jobs on merit. One, that doesn't happen. We've seen plenty of white coaches get hooked up because of who they know, and y'all don't be saying anything about DEI. That is like the OG DEI. They won't say anything about it. Anyway, yeah. But no, I'm love that you brought up that point, because I want to see Aaron Glenn succeed, because him succeeding impacts other opportunities for other black coaches down the road. And there haven't been many opportunities for black coaches here in New York. There hasn't been opportunities for any black quarterbacks here in New York. I mean, the Giants started one for the first time to start the season in history this year in 2025.
Yeah, he did not look like that was make it look like that was the right decision. But Jameis about to get a shot now.
Oh Lord.
Shout out Jameis, man. And yeah, I'll tell you, you say, oh Lord, I'll tell you this. If instead of Dable bringing Russ into the game, he had brought Winston in, Dable would still be employed today, because the Giants would have won that game.
I think yes to that. I think the thing that gets lost, I'm not saying this for you simply, that gets lost in the Giants game the other day. I know it wasn't all on him. Russell Wilson got him down to the 1 yard line, and Brian Daboll decided to not go for it.
Yeah, that was no. I talked about that. I said, what a pathetic decision, man. That was cowardly.
You have nothing to lose. I didn't understand the decision. I think that's part of what got him fired. I think how he handled Jackson Dart's injury, and not that he could make him do certain things, but just how he got hurt and handled the injury. I think that had a lot to do with it. I had Josina Anderson on with me during that live show. She talked to me about that. I do understand from the fan base, and a lot of people said this, hey, I ain't trying to see Russ no more. Right? Can I throw something at you? Because we had this conversation at work sitting around.
Oh, let's do it.
There's an actual debate from, I feel like my producers are going to sound like haters, but they kind of are. There's actual debate about whether or not Russell Wilson's a Hall of Fame quarterback, which I think is crazy.
No, but wait, crazy in what way?
I think which direction? I think he's an absolute Hall of Fame.
So I remember this first becoming a conversation when he got traded to Denver, and he was given that massive extension that obviously backfired, because it felt like at that point. So Russ's career arc is as follows: like he won early, but a lot of that had to do with him being a quote unquote game manager, having Marshawn, Legion of Boom. They won early. Once that defense started to break up, the Seahawks weren't as good, but Russ let Russ cook. We saw him become a much better quarterback to the point where I forget the year he was like in the MVP conversation. But then something weird happened, bro, where he just quickly fell off. He lost his mobility. He gets traded to Denver. He stunk in Denver. Now he's in Pittsburgh, and he had his ups and downs last year. So I felt like he needed that second act to stamp his Hall of Fame candidacy. I don't know that he's getting in, man.
I
2
think
Super Bowl appearances, 1 championship.
he got robbed. He also got robbed of a Super Bowl by his coach that I feel like doesn't get talked about.
But he threw. You could say that he threw the interception though. Carroll didn't throw the pick. Russ threw that.
Carroll's. I will say this: Carroll's decision to not run it there, and I was at that Super Bowl. That is arguably the worst decision in sports history.
That's fine, but Russ also is culpable because he threw the interception. It's not like, this is some Daniel Jones play where he's running and an act of God happened and he trips and falls. Russ threw the ball to Malcolm Butler.
How much of that is? It's funny because I saw Von Miller talk about this play on a clip on another podcast this morning. I was looking at it. And he made a good point, which I felt at the time, too. I'm forgetting who the receiver was. He did not fight for the ball at all whatsoever. I didn't feel like it was necessarily the most bad throw by Russ, but the receiver did fight for it at all. Malcolm Butler made a great play. I feel like Russ's heart was not in that throw because he knew the play call was stupid.
Was it Lockett?
Lockett. Yes, you're right. It was Lockett. But, if Russ had won that Super Bowl, we're talking about this so much differently. It's not even a debate.
Yeah, because he's likely. I maybe he's the MVP, right?
Yep.
I mean, it changes. Brady doesn't get that rate, so that play was so consequential. A lot changed. Like Belichick's legacy, Brady's legacy, because that was 20. Was that
2015?
That was the 2014 season, but 2015. So at that point. Like, that was Brady and Belichick's first Super Bowl win in a decade.
Yep, correct.
So it changed the course of history. That Seahawks team ends up fracturing. Yeah, it's crazy, man, to think back on, like, biggest what ifs.
But I understand the Giants fans. It's like, I'm trying to see Russ no more.
He can't move, bro. Yo, all right, so you talk about getting him down to the 1 yard line.
Yep.
But he also had a chance on third down.
Yep.
To when he gets to prior to him getting to the 1 yard line, he's running into the end zone, and the dude couldn't move, bro. He just could not move.
He looked. So I just say this, the one thing one of my producers said, and I completely agree with him, was like, "Yo," he said, "I've never seen someone." I don't want to paraphrase Tommy, but he was like, "Look so cooked so fast," and you kind of were alluding to that. And even last year, watching with the Steelers. He did not move that bad. Like, that was like, he had you knew the mobility, he had lost it, and you were like, oh, but now it was like, ooh, I don't know if he can get past anybody.
Yo, I apologize for if there's any youngsters out there listening to this, but you know what? This reminds me. So in that Dallas game in week 3, it was week 3. I think they lost to the Cowboys.
Yep.
Where he throws the bomb. Oh no, that was actually week 2. He throws the bomb to Neighbors that won, and he was incredible in that game. Man's threw for like 500 and some change, right? It almost felt like, and then since then he's been terrible. It almost felt like the dude who's getting it in with the chick, and then just lets it all out, and then it's like I'm tapped out after that.
He's like, no round 2.
It's like that's it. That's all you gonna get from me. You better not even look over here about some damn round 2.
He's like, yo. He's like, hey, you're like, hey. He looks at me, he's like, hey, I gave you an MVP performance, baby. Yeah, this is all I got. The problem about that, to your, I love this analogy. We can love that analogy. The problem with that is like, that would be like in that situation, the guys getting in with the chick, they meet up a week later, And they're like, oh man, we're gonna have another good time again. And he's like, ain't
Yeah.
got it in me.
Yo.
That was it. That right there, that was it. That was it. Like, it was great. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Probably never happening again.
Yes, I'm tapped out, man.
Tapped out.
I done aired it all out. All right, let's talk about the Knicks real quick.
Yeah.
Another win last night. That offense is just clicking, man. So for all the people who wanted to assign weird, disrespectful nicknames to the head coach of the New York Knicks, what do we say about him now that the team looks like they're one of the best in not just the Eastern Conference, but in the league? And you heard Mikal Bridges last night talking about he still thinks there's a different level this offense can get to. The Knicks will be on the second end of a back-to-back tonight against the Magic. They beat the Grizzlies last night. They've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight games since that loss in Chicago. And look at the point totals: 128, 119, 137, 134, 133. They look incredible right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. And I feel like the people who, get on different platforms and were disrespectful to Mike Brown early in his tenure should keep that same energy. I also think, I've said this, and this goes for me and other people, I think it's real easy to have that energy when you don't have to go in the locker room. I think it's real easy to do that, right? And I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think it's cowardly. Mm-hmm. Don't do that. Don't do that. Like, you could be better than that. You can criticize somebody, but to talk out of their name like that, it's whack.
You mean it's easier to be a tough guy when all you got to do is sit behind a microphone?
Yeah. Or behind Twitter, got the Twitter fingers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it's easier to do that, and I think critiques are fine. And I'm not saying anybody on radio or anybody who does what we do can't be critical. You can. It's just there's a level where some people take it where it's like, man, that's a little too personal. Like, anything you've criticized Aaron Glenn on, it's not been personal. But when people, call somebody out their name, like,
because we know growing up, like, that was a sign of like, fighting word. You calling somebody out? Yeah, we got thrown hands. Like there's certain ways you can. It's like Kendrick said, right? It's a friendly fade. Don't make it personal. Let's keep it that way.
Keep it that way. Yeah, and it's like and you're not even seeing this person. Like, at least in rap, at least you sparring, you might throw some subs or some jabs. I'm not really here for the subs, but like, if you do that, it is you at some point somebody's got to respond. Now, whatever. I just want to get that off my chest. Sorry. But to your point about the Knicks offense, bro, the offense looks real good. The critics are going to say, and I was talking about this with my colleague Stephen Bondi last night, is that, okay, well, who have they really played in this stretch? Like, they did play the Bulls again, who are a pretty good team, not a strong defensive team. You haven't really seen them go this offense tested against a really good defensive team. And I mean, listen, that's something to watch, but here's what you want to happen in the season. You want good habits to start forming. And through their first 5 games, the offense looked good at times, but clunky, which I never understood how people didn't expect that, Ty. I expected that. Now you're just seeing guys moving well, cutting well, understanding where they're supposed to be. Mikal Bridges is having a fantastic season, which I predicted. And he's right. I think the offense can still get to another level. I think he's 100% right about that. But you're also seeing how good Brunson is in catch and shoot situations, which some people before the season kept saying to me on my show, New York Got Game, oh, well, Dex, we're worried about that. How's it going to look with Brunson not having the ball in his hands? I'm like, it's going to be fine. I was never worried about that at all whatsoever. Jalen Brunson is that good. He is one of the 7 to 8 best players in basketball.
Yo, he played with Luka.
Yes, that was one of my points, Ty. That was when people were like, oh, he has to be ball dominant. I'm like, the guy was cooking, which really is where he broke out, off of Luka.
Yeah,
he'll be fine. He'll be okay. Luka and Spencer Dinwiddie, who had on that team, had a lot of the ball handling responsibilities. The Knicks' offenses look good. It is more diverse than ever before. I absolutely love what Mike Brown is doing in terms of the way he's using rotations, the way he's looking at different lineups. This is what you use the regular season for. This is not me shading Tom Thibodeau, but the offense looks so much more modern. You're seeing dribble handoff actions. You're seeing pin down actions. You're not seeing a over-reliance on certain pick and roll situations, guys in different situations. Mikal Bridges handling the ball. And I still think there's another level to go. And then tonight I'll be at the Garden against the Magic. The Magic have not played as good as they could be defensively thus far this season. but they do have the bones of a good defensive team. And I do think this will test the Knicks on a back-to-back. Mitchell Robinson will play. He didn't play last night. I think this Knicks offense is really good. This is what Mike Brown was brought here to do. I still think people forget that he is a good defensive coach. And the Knicks are right now a top 10 defense. And I still think the defense has more work to do. They got to be better at defending the three. There's a lot of things they still have to work on. But right now, his job was to maximize the offense. And it's looking like it's maximized. And I don't even think it's still where it needs to be.
Wait, you said the Knicks offense is more diverse. Are we sure as a country we like diversity?
man, the country doesn't. Like, and when we say the country, let's keep it a buck.
We're not talking about everybody,
right? And it's like, and not all white people, but you get the point that I'm making, right? Like, there's been people who've been pushing back against diversity and see the way things are going politically, because politics is still tied into sports. But you know what? I once did this interview with I feel like I'm forgetting this professor's name from the University of Colorado. I feel bad I'm forgetting her name, but she has a really good book in which she wrote about diversity in sports and sports management and stuff. And she talked to me how, like, there's all these statistics about how diversity is great for business and is proving that, but people are so against it. And sports is a business, and even playing of sports, right? You don't want anything to be too predictable. That you don't want it to be like, oh, I know what this play is. I know where this is coming from. I know what this guy. You want a variety. And that's what I mean about that, because it keeps defenses on their toes. You're able to play different games within the games. And you're also able to not wear your players out. And I think this is what Mike Brown's doing that is so key, with Jalen Brunson getting more catch and shoot opportunities, with him not pounding the rock for 15 of the 24 seconds on the shot clock. There's things I think Knicks can get better on. Pace, getting shots up a little bit earlier in the shot clock. They're still in the bottom of the league in that, and shots between 7 and 4 seconds left on the shot clock. They still can get into, quicker actions. I still think there's a way they're trying, but they're adjusting. But yeah, man, diversity is good despite how the country might make you feel about it.
So the last one here is, when people, I guess, impugn like the legitimacy of what they're seeing with the Knicks, and they throw in, well, they haven't been tested. Yo, outside of playing Western Conference opponents, I just don't know how often they are going to be tested this year. And I've got respect for the Cavs. Miami's gotten off to a better start we could have imagined. We saw Milwaukee beat them. How often are they going to be tested to the point where you feel like, if you're someone who is, I guess, skeptical about what this team can do, you're not going to get a lot of that. And I love the NBA, but NBA regular season, here's a big time matchup between these two teams, and then you find out, well, their second best player is not going to be playing tonight. So I don't think we're going to get a lot of them being tested during the regular season.
I think, and I just want to be very clear, when I say about the Knicks being tested, I'm talking about their offense going up against a team that is defensively can switch everything 1 through 5 and is that good defensively. To me right now, there are 2 teams that jump out to me that I can't wait to see the Knicks play, because I think these are going to be really good matchups for them. They're both Western Conference opponents. One is the Oklahoma City Thunder, defending champions, because they can do that, and they're also their depth. Can't wait to see the Knicks play them, what their offense can do against their defense, and what their defense can do against them, and how they know how to execute. The other is a team I don't think is as good as the Oklahoma City Thunder, but they have size, length, and they can switch a lot, and that's the Houston Rockets. I want to see what they can do against them as well, too. In terms of Eastern Conference, yes, I will put Cleveland there, but I don't think Cleveland is as good as those other teams defensively. I think the Magic will be a good defensive team, and this is why I think tonight is very interesting. I don't think the Magic are a good offensive team, but I do think defensively they're going to project to be better. If I had to throw another Eastern Conference team in there, I might say Detroit. They're off to a really good start at 9-2, and
Cade's been awesome, bro.
Cade's been great, and I don't think they're going to scare the Knicks defensively, but they're good defensively enough in the East, and I think they got a little fight in them, especially what happened last year in the playoffs, that can push them there. The other team, I'll say, again, this team has not been that good defensively, but offensively, they're playing amazing. The Knicks will see them Friday, and they'll see them again on Monday, and that's the Miami Heat. Those games, and they already took an L to the Miami down in South Beach, and the Miami's playing with this 5-out style that's going to challenge the Knicks defensively. So I think those things are good, but for me, it's really about what do they do against an elite defensive team that can be aggressive, that can switch everything, that can disrupt the defense, and okay, something doesn't work on this set. How do you adjust the next possession? That's when they're going to be tested. So to your point, we're talking maybe so 2 games against the Thunder, 2 games against the Rockets. You got 3 more against the Cavs.
I mean, listen, I got to say this because I'm a Laker guy, but Luka's averaging 37, 9, and 9, and is second in the MVP race right now. So they'll play the Lakers at some point with LeBron healthy, and the Lakers have been tremendous.
Yep.
So they'll have their opportunities. I just don't know that. And again, this is coming from someone who loves the NBA, that over the course of an 82-game season, like how many times could we classify this as some like big game of heavyweights? Throw Denver in there.
Yeah, I like Denver too. I'll throw Denver in there. I don't think they're as good defensively, but they'll test you offensively too. Yeah, see, we're talking about 10 to 12 games. We're talking about a tenth of the season is what we're talking about.
Which is what happened last year, remember? Because like it was the Knicks were great against these other teams, but against the best teams, we kept throwing their record out there against like Oklahoma City, LA, the Celtics, the Cavs.
But they were 2 wins away from the finals still, despite all that. Which is why you gotta chill on. I'm not the regular season doesn't matter guy. I actually hate when people say that because I think it's stupid. But you have to build good habits. You gotta work on things. So coming by the playoffs, you are right. So yes, I will say that those games will matter a little bit more in terms of how we look at it and where the Knicks are in their their pursuit of a championship. But yeah, there's not that many games. So, but with all that being said, when you play the Memphis Grizzlies like you did last night, when you play the Nets, who are awful,
pack them up.
You got to kill them. That was my one critique of the Knicks last night. And I said it in my post-game rap with Stephen Bondi. They had this game. They had the Grizzlies by, they had the game. They had them by the throat. The Grizzlies looked like they were ready to die, as Steph said to me. And the Knicks didn't put them away. And they played with their food when they could have rested guys before back-to-back. So that's something they got to get better at too. Is like when you got a bad team, like they did with the Nets, you got to finish them off, man.
I said that was my last question, but you just piqued my interest. So this will actually be my last question.
Mm-hmm.
The Nets. I mean, I don't know that anyone, like if Adam Silver came out today and was like, yo, we're relegating them to the G League, I don't know that anyone's protesting that. And I know you need like the board of governors to weigh in, and you need like 70% of the vote. No one would be opposed to not having to watch the Nets the rest of the season. Like they're not only bad, but the only interesting part about them is Cam Thomas, who's hurt. I guess Michael Porter Jr. But like to see where they were just 5 minutes ago, like, oh, the Nets, they're a contender to like what they've become now. They're not quite like the Suns, and the Suns have actually been playing better, but the Suns don't have any of their assets. The Nets actually have assets that they can cash in on. But bro, as a Net fan, yikes.
It's tough, man. I was on a Believe the Nets podcast the other day to preview the game against the Knicks, and it's like tough, man. Like I don't know what you're supposed to be excited about. If you're a Nets fan, that's the problem with a team like that. They don't have a young player to be really excited about, and that's what sucks for them. Yes, I think if they could be relegated, and anybody who knows me knows I wish we had relegation in American sports. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a big English Premier League soccer fan, big Liverpool fan. I love relegation. I think we should have relegation in American sports because, there has to be some standard to staying up. You can't if you're bad, get out of here, man. You got to work your way back up to the top. I love that because there's no sense of. We know the Nets are tanking. We're gonna use the T word. We know they're tanking. They're not putting out serious lineups out there. They're not. They got 4 to 5 first round draft picks down in the G League, or 3 of them, and it's like, that's a tough watch. And I have not been to the Barclays Center this yet for a Nets game, and I have not looked at like what the attendance is, but
it's bad.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks, I think I may go when the Knicks play the Nets in Brooklyn. I might pop up to that. It's going to be like 90% Knicks fans.
And I actually just caught myself doing something stupid because I was looking at the schedule and I was going to do the whole, well, their schedule is going to get tough around this part. When you're bad as the Nets are, the schedule is tough the whole
Oh,
year.
it's tough.
It's
Yeah,
it's tough the whole
yeah,
year. Like
the whole
every
year.
game you play is tough, bro. They're 1-10 right now. Are they gonna get to double-digit wins this
Yo,
year?
somebody said to me the other day, they asked me, do I think the Nets will win 15 games?
Oh,
And I was,
15. Oh my goodness.
I
15
said,
games?
yo,
15?
I was like, I don't know.
Yo,
I
if
was
they
like,
win 15 games, give them the title. Like that's like 73-9 Warriors ask like a accomplishment. Impressive.
the worst record in NBA history is 9-73, right? I think the Bobcats did that.
Yeah,
The
and then the Nets come.
Sixers,
The Nets came close one year, right?
yeah, they
With
were
the Bo, with
12
the
and 70.
Boban. I remember
Yeah,
Boban being on that team.
yeah, like
Uh,
I, the Nets, I think worst record ever is 12-70, and
yeah,
I,
12-70. They did back in 2000. That was the Lawrence Frank. 12-70, 2009, 2010 year.
yeah, I, this team, oh, God, I if I had to go right now, I think they do a little better than that. But like if they finish 15-67, that would shock me.
Just real quick, just for our own entertainment. I said
Yes.
Boban. I meant Josh Boone.
Oh,
Um,
Josh Boone. Oh man,
I don't know if you can see the screen, but
I,
you want to
I
get a
can't.
look at. You can't.
Not
All
right
right.
now. No.
So I'm
There we
adding
go.
to. Here's the net roster back in
Oh my God.
2009, 2010. Rayford Alston. That's a name. Tony
Wow.
Petit, Josh Boone. Remember Keon Dooling? I think he went to Miami after that.
Keon Dooling. Yeah, I remember Keon Dooling.
Chris Douglas Roberts. That was a Devin Harris, who had one of the all-time great net buzzer beaters.
Devin Harris was a good. This team is better than this current Nets team.
Yo, Chris Humphreys, Courtney Lee, Brooke Lopez, all-time leading scorer in franchise history, I believe.
Yeah.
Terrence, that's not a bad team. The fact that they won 12 games is insane. But
yeah. This team in talent, this team is better than Jalian is on this team too. I'm saying.
yeah,
This team is better. Yeah.
So if we just right now played this team against the current Nets team, who wins?
I think this team wins.
Even at their advanced stage. I'm saying right now. So at their advanced stage. Yeah.
Nah, I'm not gonna go that. Okay, that's too far. I wouldn't go that. No, right now, if you took all these players, no, the current Nets team is gonna win. Like, I'm not gonna go. That's too far. I wouldn't do that. Yeah, no, that's too far.
My man, I appreciate you. This is always fun, though. We get to just chop it up for an hour about a bunch of stuff. You'll be at the Knicks game. I gotta get to a Knicks game soon.
You do,
I gotta
man.
get to a Knicks game soon. But yeah, I appreciate you doing the show, bro. Hit us up with put the people on to what you got cooking, because I know you're gonna be pumping out some content.
Yeah, man, got a lot of good content coming. We'll have a little New York Got Game show from the Garden tonight. Following the game, we'll see what the Knicks do. Myself, Brian Fonseca, the homie will be doing that. Also, we have a Knicks live show tomorrow to preview their upcoming games against the Heat. More stuff on New York Got Game, more stuff on Straight Out of Flushing, which I got to get you on, Ty, to talk about the Nets this offseason. They got a big offseason, so we got stuff on that. Subscribe to New York Post Sports YouTube channel. Follow me at D Henry TV. Continue to subscribe and support the Ty Butler Show. Do that. Ty will be on a lot of stuff with me coming up. So yeah, appreciate you for having me, brother. And diversity, always good.
Sir.
Always good for the people. Always good.
Yes, sir. Let's do it, man. And yeah, hit me up, bro. You know I got nothing but love for you, and I will talk to you later.
All right, bro. Peace.
Holla at me, dog.
Yep.
That was Dexter Henry, D Henry TV. What a fun conversation, man. I could talk to that dude for hours. We just go all over the place. And you know, we don't agree on everything. We got some takes where we go back and forth on, but it's just good having a voice like here in the business. And I give him mad love because he actually helped me get on TV. If it was not for Dexter, like I wouldn't be doing the shows on SNY. He put me on to the program director over there, and he brought me on his show that was being, aired digitally. So that gave me some FaceTime and it helped build my resume. So I got nothing but love for that dude. We went over a lot today. If you guys still have some gems you want to drop in the comments, Ty Butler, that's where I'm streaming on X, on YouTube. So give me a follow on X, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are also pumping out content on Instagram. So hit that follow button on Instagram at Ty Butler. You can see it on your screen here. If you got some gems you want to drop in the comments before we get on out of here, hit us up. We covered a lot of ground today. Covered a lot of ground. The Knicks, haven't really dug into them too much because, I'm watching and paying attention. Obviously, I'm a huge hoops guy, but a lot of my focus has been on football. I'm still in football mode. But the Knicks taking care of business, stacking W's. Mike Brown so far has improved. I don't want to say the culture of the team because that would intimate that there was a bad culture with Tom Thibodeau. But what I will say that I love about what Mike Brown has done, you hear the players, they talk glowingly about him. I was very concerned where right before the season, Katz asked about his role, and he's like, yeah, I don't know. I was like, whoa, boy. That does not sound great. You're the second best player on a team that is expected to contend for a championship. At the very least, expected to win its conference. I can't have the second best player not knowing what his role is. But since then, we've seen everyone talk glowingly about him. We saw that column in the New York Post drop last week and about how he's got this open door policy, there's open communication. And whether you like it or not, I know the old heads are allergic to hearing these kind of things. We're in a new era now. It's the new school where you're not going to be yelling and screaming at these dudes like that. It's more about being approachable, being communicative, and having an environment created where players feel like, yes, they're being coached and developed, and it's a winning environment, but one that also encourages them to use their voice, to have conversations with the coaches, or in baseball, the managers. It's a two-way street, and that's what he's done a great job of doing. So Kevin Zwicker chimes in. Do you think it's a lock that it will be the Cavs playing the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals? Because I already know we in there. It was my pick before the season, and I'm not going to act like that's some, going out on a limb. But yeah, I think the Cavs have the second best team. Look, Milwaukee is going to be there in the end because Giannis, he's a monster. He's the best player in the conference. And, Miami, I don't know if they're good enough. Detroit still feels like a year or so away, even though Cade's been awesome. I don't trust the Magic. Like, I just watch them, and I don't come away fulfilled with what they're doing offensively. And Desmond Bane hit that game winner, ridiculous game winner a couple nights ago. So yeah, I think the Knicks and the Cavs will be the two teams competing for the conference when it's all said and done. And I will give the nod to the Knicks. I think they're better than Cleveland. But still a long way to go, obviously. Touched on the Jets. A lot of people, and my mentions are still filled with them, man. Aaron Glenn. I criticized him yesterday just because I didn't love the Rich Cimini stuff. And here we go again with the Jet fans running to defend him. I don't know how you can defend that. I don't know why you take pride in having a head coach who unnecessarily invites attention and drama into the locker room when this head coach was supposed to be someone eliminating that attention and drama. Like, isn't that the reason why you kicked Rodgers to the curb? You didn't want to have a sideshow. You didn't want to have distractions. And yet every week you seem to be the distraction. My man, you're 2-7. So yeah, we'll give you credit for the last couple of wins, but you're still 2-7. And I had my man Alex B Central hit me up, and he said something that I was just like, "Are you serious, dog?" He said, He responded to me saying Aaron Glenn fired Aaron Rodgers to eliminate unnecessary distractions from the team to solely focus on winning. Aaron Glenn then became the unnecessary distraction for the team. So then he responded to that saying, or necessary distraction, taking the focus off the team and putting it on himself. Rex used to do this, so did Belichick. First of all, it should be about the team and what they're doing on the field. Like, I should be able to talk about how great Brees Hall has been. I should be able to talk about how great Fashion or Mimble, the offensive line, has been. Can't talk about the quarterback. He's been awful. But special teams, defensively, what we saw from Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson, Jamian Sherwood, like the focus after a win should be on the team highlighting what they did well. It should not be on the head coach who once again is picking a fight with the media. And then we get to the best part of this tweet where he's like, Rex used to do this. So did Belichick. First of all, Rex never did what Aaron Glenn did yesterday. That never happened. And then I am going to pretend I didn't just see you compare Aaron Glenn to the greatest coach who's ever been in the NFL. The greatest coach of all time. I'm going to pretend you didn't use him as a comp because that would make you look ridiculous. And I like you, so I don't want you to look ridiculous. That's the problem. So stop making excuses for this behavior. And we've grown to, as a society, just have such disdain for the media. The media is the bad guy. Like, we've grown to that point. And it's happening all throughout politics. We've seen that for the last decade. And now I guess it's trickled into sports where it's like, oh, the media, gotta dethrone the media. The media's got too much power. And so, man, bleep all that. Your man, whoever it was at the press conference, was simply asking him a question about your best wide receiver and his injury status. Feels like a legitimately fair question. Now, if you're mad that some leak took place within the organization and you want to clean that up, then take care of that. But subjecting the people who work hard covering this team to that type of nonsense out of your own desire for what? Like humor? Like that. It's getting to a point where I feel like he just enjoys that. Like, he just enjoys it. That's what he wants to do because it's enjoyable for him. Aaron Glenn, I'm talking about. And if this is the type of person you want to be standing up there every single week at the podium, then it better work out for you. It better lead to some wins. Because I'll tell you this, the Patriots are up to 12.5-point favorites tomorrow against the Jets. You get waxed again on national television. You get annihilated in prime time. People are quickly going to forget about 2 wins against the Bengals and the Browns. Especially because it's not like you thoroughly outplayed those teams. Very well could have lost both those games. But you got the wins. We'll celebrate and give you credit for that. But if you get your rear end handed to you by the Patriots tomorrow, going to be coming for you again. And I think people would be more apt to give you a softer landing spot if you come across as likable, and that's natural. Like, we want reporters to be unbiased. Yeah, I understand that. Objective. But there's a softer landing spot for people who present themselves as likable, even in the midst of failure. It's like, all right, man, we're rooting for you, buddy. Like, Justin Fields is the perfect example. Justin Fields, who we all will acknowledge has been horrendous this year. And we've all crushed him. Because he allows grace and mercy to follow him, because he's up there at the podium, not throwing anyone under the bus, not making any excuses, taking the blame, because he presents himself as someone who's likable, especially when Woody Johnson crushed him. You had people who weren't even Jet fans. That's what Mina Kimes, all these people tweeting about how much of a feel-good story it was to have him have that performance against the Bengals and win that game. Because being likable does go a long way. Now, it obviously has to be authentic. It has to be sincere. We don't like phonies. But if you present yourself as someone who we can at least try to root for because you've got the character, you've got the stature, and you've got the gravity of a person that way, then yeah, you'll get some of the benefit of the doubt. But the inverse of that is when you are purporting yourself to be this badass, take, no nonsense, no BS. And meanwhile, your team is stockpiling L's to the point where you had to, at the deadline, punt on 2 of your 3 best players. We're going to have some smoke for you. And I don't think it needs to go, it doesn't have to be personal. We're just talking about the job that you're doing and your failure to connect with the fan base. Now, I guess I say that, and some people, some fans love it. I just don't understand it. By the way, as you guys are giving me a follow on X, on YouTube, and on Instagram, Ty Butler, I will be on the radio in New York tomorrow night on ESPN 880. So download the app. I'm going to be on the radio from 7 to 9. So that'll take you through the first hour, and the first hour and 15 minutes will take you up until kickoff, which I expect all the Jet fans, all of y'all, and Giants, we're going to be talking about y'all too. I expect all of you guys to pull up and, have some fun with us. And then we'll make the last 45 minutes of the show from 8:15 to 9 o'clock a little watch party where we get to, I don't actually love doing this, being live, streaming, and talking during the game because I just get so riled up and impacted by every single play of every single possession. But we'll get to have a good time, making a little watch party. Jets, Patriots, Thursday night football. Pats are 12.5-point favorites, and I am expecting a bloodbath because the Patriots have a case to be made that they are the best team in the AFC, led by a case to be made for their quarterback being the MVP of the league. And with that head coach who has come in and immediately fixed all of the issues plaguing them last year, are for the most part, because they still get penalized too much, and Drake's still taking some sacks that he should not be taking. But for the most part, he's cleaned up their act, and it's why right now, if you want to say the Patriots are the best team in the AFC, I can disagree with you, but I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy to think that they're going to get the 1 seed. I'd have Stafford and Jonathan Taylor ahead of Drake May in the MVP conversation right now, but I don't think it's crazy that Drake could win it. Which, how about that, by the way? If in a year where we're told Caleb Williams is the generational talent, but Jaden Daniels in year 1 takes his team to the NFC Championship game. He wins Rookie of the Year. And then the next year, Drake May wins the MVP and takes his team to, the AFC Championship game. And all we have to go on with Caleb Williams is, did you see those clutch throws against the Giants and the Bengals? All the Bears fans out there, and I don't know how many Bears fans I actually have on this stream, but all the Bears fans out there that get so giddy when it comes to Caleb Williams, wake me up when that dude beats a good team. Wake me up when Caleb Williams is able to perform well and beat a good team. His 6 wins this year. I don't even know how we got to Caleb Williams, but this is the nature of doing the show, right? We can talk about anything we want. Caleb Williams against winning teams or teams with a good defense, 11-15. He's 1-7 career in his division. His 6 wins this year are against the Cowboys, the Raiders, the Commanders, who are on their backup quarterback, The Saints, the Bengals, another team on his backup quarterback, and the Giants, who just fired their coach. This is who Caleb Williams has beaten this year. And I am supposed to believe, oh, he's tracking to be that generational talent people kept telling us about. Stop it. They might not even make the playoffs. They might not even make the playoffs. So let's stop making excuses for Caleb Williams. Let's also stop making excuses for Josh Allen. Because it's funny how this thing works. I think Josh is an excellent quarterback. I also think he's slightly overrated. Because after he beats Mahomes, it's like, oh man, did you see the Buffalo Bills? Wow. Did you see them spanking Kansas City? A Kansas City team that those people who want to give the Bills credit for beating prior to the Bills beating them were not solo in Kansas City because they didn't pick the Bills to win that game and said it's the Bills conference to win or lose. But anyway, after they beat the Chiefs, it's like, that's the Super Bowl favorite right there, the Buffalo Bills, led by the favorite to win the MVP, Josh Allen. And then wouldn't you know, the following week, they get embarrassed in Miami, where Josh Allen had not one, but 2 terrible turnovers, and they lost the game. And then we're back to running the same old script of, it's not Josh Allen's fault. Sean McDermott, I mean, he can't coach. What can you expect when the roster's not all that talented on offense? He doesn't have a number 1 receiver. Joe Brady didn't call a great game. Are y'all serious? We love to just make excuses for folks. And by the way, I'm consistent on this because a quarterback I actually like, not that I dislike Caleb or Josh Allen, I dislike the commentary surrounding those guys, Justin Herbert, who for a minute I was like, yo, come on, man, y'all hating on this cat. But when I saw him last year in the playoffs do what he did in that loss, where he threw 4 interceptions, I was like, all right, man, 5 years into your career, you can't win a playoff game? And both of your playoff losses are ugly? All right, it's time to start holding people accountable, even if you like them. I can still like you and be honest in my assessment of you. How did we get here? So that somehow was me recapping our Jets conversation. Speaking of the Giants, look, Joe Shane does not deserve to remain employed by the Giants. Does not deserve that. You cannot sit here and tell me that when we go back the last 3 years and we see the Giants are 6-11, 3-14, and now 2-8, with 7 games left to play this year, that their only issue was coaching. Some of that was the roster. Some of that was coaching. Collectively, they did not do a good enough job, which means collectively they should both be gone. But Joe Shane still remains. And according to the statement, according to reports, he is going to have a hand in picking the Giants' next head coach. Here's what I would say about that. Don't get too ahead of yourself. Because if Mike Tomlin fizzles out in Pittsburgh and Rooney, Khan, like they decide mutual parting of ways, or if Harbaugh decides, you know what, need a change of scenery, mutual parting of ways, Stefanski gets let go by Cleveland, Matt LaFleur, who I didn't even realize this, but the Athletic reported yesterday could be on the hot seat. If any of those guys come knocking on the door of John Mara, who every time I talk about him, I feel like I got to say he's dealing with something much more serious with his health, with the cancer. So I'm praying for the man. I hope that he's able to overcome that. Very scary, obviously very troubling. So I'm praying for the man. So if it's John Mara or whoever else is making this decision about who the next head coach is, if those dudes, LaFleur, Tomlin, Harbaugh, or Stefanski come knocking on the door and they're like, listen, I'm interested in this job. Here's the thing. I want to be the person who hires the general manager. I want to pick my own GM. are you then going to say, nah, we're dying on this Joe Shane hill? Joe Shane, who is 20, 40, and 1? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That would be organizational malpractice. And Giant fans should hold pitchforks, torches. That would be a moment of despair that we, frankly, have never seen before if you allow that to take place. So I think that there is still more to this story. The verdict is still out. We haven't seen the end of whether or not Joe Shane is going to retain his job with the New York Giants. Ty D. Butler. So you can find me on X, on Instagram, on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys for hanging with me today. Holla at y'all later.